Nope, no drama at the Oscars anymore. None whatsoever, except there is. And Michael B. Jordan and Denzel Washington are teaming up for a new movie, and we exclusively debut Dragged Across Concrete, a new trailer. Colada Movie Talk is now.
You ever been dragged across concrete? Reilly, it hurts.
It's
not fun.
Been dragged across concrete until now. Here I am with you, Jeff Sneider, Dennis Tzeng, and we are here on Collider Movie Talk. Happy to be here filling in for Perry Nemiroff, and let's just get right to it because, guys, the Oscars are happening. It's Sunday. It's literally 3 days away, and we just get word from Variety, that is, that the efforts to secure Kendrick Lamar and SZA for the performance of the Oscar-nominated song All the Stars from Black Panther, they will not be appearing. They say it's due to scheduling, and another band will not be performing the song, and so it's just going to be omitted. So, Jeff Sneider, you are on for your consideration. You know the Oscars. What the hell is going on, man?
Yeah, I just don't know if I buy this. The whole, like, he's busy, there's not enough time. Like, how much time does it take to walk up a flight of stairs, grab a microphone, and sing the damn song? Like, they're making this out to be like, we didn't have enough time to put together the kind of stage performance that would do this song justice. Yeah. It's like, give me a break, okay? They're all going to get up there. We're not looking for, like, a Kendrick Lamar concert where people are paying hundreds of dollars to attend. It's an honor to go up there. Honestly, do you want to know what I think this is all about, guys? Besides, money, which is always about everything.
Sure.
I think it's that they know that they're going to lose. And so they're like, why are we going up there, when we all know that the award's going to Lady Gaga? I think it's a bit of, you know what, if I can't play, or, if I couldn't possibly win, I'm going to take my ball and go home. That's what this feels like to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that could be it. I think it sucks because Black Panther being an Oscar-nominated movie and very popular, the song is great. I would want them to be up there, but I can get maybe that they want to do a big performance. They want to showcase themselves. He didn't perform at the Grammys, so there's something going on here. Dennis, do you think that Sneider is onto something, or do you think it's a reduced performance? They only want to kind of, they're always worrying about the timing and getting through everything. What is your take on this?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, along with Jeff, like, they knew they were nominated for, it's been a long time, and they could have prepared if they wanted them to perform. They originally said, hey, we're only going to have 2 performances. Lady Gaga with Shallow and Kendrick Lamar and SZA for All the Stars. So they would have known for a while now that they were going to have this, and then they announced the whole Queen thing, which those aren't going to be nominated because those are pre-existing songs. So I think it is weird. I don't know if it's a money thing or an ego thing or whatever, but it's definitely not a logistics scheduling thing. It's not a we couldn't make it type of thing. They knew they were nominated a long time ago, so it's something else. I
mean, you'd think that they would want to be part of the process and be part of the evening and celebrate with the rest of the Black Panther team. What if Black Panther wins Best Picture, and then the guys who did this hit song aren't even there? Like, I just don't understand that. And Deadline is saying that in regards to how All the Stars will be presented on the show, we hear the current plan is the track played against video clips. So they're just going to play the recorded version over snippets of Black Panther. I don't know how that fits in with the rest of the song presentation. Again, this is just one more thing in the weirdest goddamn Oscar year I've ever seen.
You said it, man. This is I have not on record seen anything like this with the Oscars before. We've had no host. We've had a host and then falls off. We've had the songs, they're only going to do 2, which brings me back to that topic. This has been so long. We've known this is, even when they said we're doing 2 songs, they were one of them. They had plenty of time to maybe even put a stage presence up together, a stage performance, and it is a live show. It is something that will be televised, sure, but it's a live show. You want to represent Black Panther. You want to represent yourself, right? You're selling your music, so why not do it on a big stage, watched by millions of people? But is it a bigger sign that this Oscar telecast, is there any chance that this thing could actually tank, not only in reviews, not only in ratings, but just be an absolute mess? Is there any kind of situation scenario that you see, Dennis? Because it seems like everything is falling apart, and we're 3 days away.
Well, you forgot about the whole not announcing on the broadcast, the editing, the cinematography, and
there's so much. I missed everything because every single facet of this thing seems to be
it's moving quickly. It's a very fluid situation.
I will say this: despite all this drama that we've had, I don't think so. I think it's going to do fine. You're talking about a year where they've actually included much of some of the larger movies. You're talking about Black Panther, you're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody, and even A Star Is Born. So you're not in Green Book. Like, it's not one of those years where it's like a bunch of indie films that nobody's seen or nobody's heard of. So I think viewership wise, I still think they're going to do fine.
Listen, I can believe that. Now, Sneider, do you think that people outside of our business are aware of the shenanigans going on, and could that help the ratings?
I don't think that they're necessarily that aware, but I do think that the ratings will benefit. I guess I'm contradicting myself in that answer, but like I do think that it is going to be such a train wreck. It's the same reason that people slow down to look at car accidents on the highway.
Right.
I think people are going to tune in just to see what the hell has happened this year. There's already a lot of talk about Whoopi Goldberg potentially coming in as the secret host. She's been missing from The View for the last few weeks due to pneumonia. Curious, considering that The View is on ABC. She's someone who has hosted in the past and expressed interest in hosting this year. Who knows what they have planned on that front? But man, I cannot wait to see how everything comes together, because it seems like it's going to be an utter disaster.
Yeah, it seems that way. But I want to pull on that thread a little bit. Secret host? Because that would be interesting.
You haven't heard this rumor going around?
I have not heard this rumor going around, and I'm glad that you did it live here on Collider Movie Talk.
Peter Canada at IndieWire sort of put out this tweet, and he kind of like made up this conspiracy theory, but then it started to catch a little fire, and I think it was Joy Behar who like responded to him. I think it was her on The View, and she just like was not a very good actress. Like, they weren't very convincing. So I do think that something is up with Whoopi Goldberg. So we'll see.
I love that idea.
I like it too. She's really. I think she'd be good, right?
Yeah, she's great. Dennis, would you be up for that? Actually, could this be like some big, not necessarily a ruse, but something that they've had planned? Don't want to tell anybody, and then all of a sudden the curtain opens and here comes Whoopi. Would you be down with that idea?
Yeah, I'd be down for it. I don't think it's like planned. Like, they didn't have all this stuff happening. Like, I'm sure it's something they've probably been working on and hoping for, and maybe it is going to happen. They probably locked it down not too long ago.
Right.
So they're probably getting her ready for it. But I'd like that.
Here's like the interesting thing. Like, they announced all those unique presenters the other day, and we're supposed to like figure out who's presenting what award. Mike Myers and Dana Carvey are going to be introducing Bohemian Rhapsody as a Best Picture nominee.
Yeah.
But it's like, on one hand, the purest part of me is like, Dana Carvey should have nothing to do with the Academy Awards. I love the guy; he's hilarious. He does not belong at the Oscars or on stage at the Dolby. On the other hand, I told one of my like friends or brothers that last night that Wayne and Garth were going to be presenting, and they were like, "That's awesome! I'm totally going to watch now." So it's like you have to appeal to the Oscar awards snobs, the film Twitter crowd, and the industry itself, and then you also have to appeal to middle America and the people who just want to see Wayne and Garth reunite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you tell me that, I'm now more excited. I thought definitely Mike Myers because he's in Bohemian Rhapsody, but then I forgot Dana Carvey's on there.
Gonna be there.
They're going to come out as Wayne and Garth. That's going to be fun. And I do admire what the Academy is doing with the unique guests, adding a little something to it, because we need it. This has been the weirdest year I've ever seen in Oscars history, as I've said before. What do you guys think? I mean, let's go back to the Black Panther song. Are you upset that they're not going to be performing? As Jeff said, do you want to see just clips of Black Panther and then with the music over it? Why don't you drop in some comments or tweet at us, at Collider Video or at Reilly Around. We're going to start taking some Twitter questions later on the show. But let's move on. Speaking of Black Panther, Michael B. Jordan is now in talks to start with Denzel Washington in a Journal for Jordan. This will be Denzel Washington's next directorial effort. And A Journal for Jordan tells the true story of Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Dana Canetti's love affair with First Sergeant Charles Monroe King. King kept a journal full of poignant life lessons for their newborn son Jordan while deployed overseas. He was then killed in Iraq in 2006 when Jordan was just 7 months old. Michael B. Jordan will be playing Jordan. How perfect is that? Now, Dennis, what do you think of this pairing? This seems like a dream pairing for me. of Denzel Washington directing Michael B. Jordan. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it makes sense. It's going to be, I think, the first time, I think you mentioned this in the article, the first time that Denzel Washington would be directing a movie that he's not starring in. Right. So if he is like, taking Michael B. Jordan under in his wings, I mean, obviously he's already a talented actor. Right. He's done so many things, like, starting off with The Wire and all the way to Friday Night Lights, and now, Black Panther, Creed, all that stuff. So I'm interested in this from a story perspective and the pairing of these two. Yeah,
I am too. When I first read your report, this is from you, right, Jeff? Mm-hmm. This report got me excited. I love Denzel as a director, but let me throw this back to you. Could Denzel pop up in a smaller role maybe that we don't know about yet? Have you heard anything?
It's possible. I mean, anytime that you're having, I guess, war scenes, he could be playing some lieutenant or staff sergeant or something who leads the guys into battle. I don't know. That was just, from what I gather, I don't think that he's, like, there's no, like, big role that screams Denzel. Like, he had starring roles in those other movies. Right. Fences, The Great Debaters, Antoine Fisher. So, but no, Michael B. Jordan is going to be playing... Charles King.
Oh, he is. Sorry.
Yeah. He's not going to be playing Jordan because Jordan's still a kid or whatever.
That's right.
But again, this movie is going to hinge on the wife role, on whoever is playing Dana. Mm-hmm. But it reminds me a lot of Dear Zachary. Did you guys ever see that documentary?
I've heard of it. Yeah,
it's an amazing documentary. It's about a guy who dies, and his best friend makes a documentary about his life to show the guy's son, essentially. But it plays like it's a letter from a father to a son, and that's how I think that this is going to play. It sounds like a great father-son story, even though they're separated by life and death.
Yeah, and it sounds like a tearjerker waiting to happen. And maybe it's something that, we're talking about the Oscars previous story. Could this be another Oscar nomination for maybe Michael B. Jordan? Could it be Denzel Washington getting a nomination? I mean, Jeff, what do you think? I mean, Denzel Washington is a great director, but correct me if I'm wrong. Has he ever been nominated for Best Director?
I don't think so, and I don't think he's a great director maybe quite yet. This sounds like maybe the most promising thing that he's done. Fences to me, was a play. It didn't really feel like
it was based on the play. Right, it felt like a play when you watched the movie, which I enjoyed, but it was
its strength was in the writing. I thought that one. It's tough to open that.
The writing and the acting.
Right, exactly. So I don't think that we've seen the best from Denzel Washington, the director, yet, and I hope that it is a journal for Jordan. And obviously, the casting of Michael B. Jordan is a huge right step in that direction.
Yeah, it's a great cast. It's a great get. I'm very much looking forward to this. It also, it reminds me of, what's that old movie with Michael Keaton and Nicole Kidman, My Life? Do you remember that, when he got cancer or something and she was about to have a baby and made all those videos?
So That's right.
That was a tearjerker for me. I love this pair up. I'm going to keep my eye on it. I love Denzel Washington as an actor, and I can see Fences and be like, yeah, it was a stage play come to life on screen, but I thought he has the chops. Maybe this is it. So we'll see. But let's move on to our next story, which is a new Rocketman trailer. It further reveals Taron Egerton's singing, and we just found out the other day in a little featurette that he is doing his own singing as Elton John. So I'm wondering how that's going to be, but we did see the trailer. It also stars Bryce Dallas Howard, Richard Madden, Jamie Bell, and Gemma Jones, and it hits theaters on May 31st. Dennis, what did you think of the trailer? And we seem to be in this renaissance of musical biopics. Bohemian Rhapsody, is this the next one that's going to land possibly an Oscar nomination later on down the year and into next?
Well, this trailer is different than the first one they released, because that one seemed more of just a montage of sequences over music, where this one is telling more of a story. But it seems to kind of follow the formula of the music biopic that Walk Hard kind of satirized very well. So in terms of renaissance for music biopics, in terms of the way they're doing them, it's still pretty similar. Like Bohemian Rhapsody, while I found enjoyable, I don't think was very different from other music biopics, and I don't know if this one will be or not, but Bohemian Rhapsody did a lot better than I was expecting. So this one probably will do. If I had if this trailer had come out before I'd seen the success of Bohemian Rhapsody, I would probably say, okay, this will do okay, but maybe bouncing off of Bohemian Rhapsody's success, maybe this will go. I also like the director, Dexter Fletcher, who did Eddie the Eagle,
right?
Also with Taron Egerton, so maybe that chemistry comes back for this one.
Right. That's a good point, too, about the like Bohemian Rhapsody just kind of performing like way above expectations. Could the same, Jeff, do you see this as being the next Bohemian Rhapsody in that is Elton John as marquee name as Queen? And will there be tons more fans or kind of more of the same? What are your thoughts on, like, give me your early box office on this.
I would think so. I mean, if you had just asked me last year, like, are Queen and Elton John equals, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this, you can't really say this movie's like copying or coasting on the success of Bohemian Rhapsody, or that it's only happening because of that film.
No.
Because this has been in the works for just as long as Bohemian Rhapsody has. Tom Hardy was going to play this role.
Yes.
Do you guys remember that?
That's right.
Tom Hardy was going to play Elton John, and I guarantee Tom Hardy would not have been allowed to sing his own songs because he can barely speak his own dialogue. Okay? Here's, like, listen, Taron Egerton, he has a nice voice. I think he's a good singer. Is he Elton John? No. And that's going to be a problem here. Like, that's going to be something that this biopic may not ever be able to overcome. And for all we know, the same thing could have happened with Bohemian Rhapsody if they had just let Rami Malek sing his own songs.
Right.
I think he's a good actor. He seems like better casting for the role than Tom Hardy, and I'm looking forward to it. It is number 2 on my top 10 most anticipated films of the year.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That high.
Tied for number 2. That's right.
Wow.
So I'm a big Elton John guy, a big supporter of his. I've covered his annual Oscar party a couple times that benefits AIDS and HIV research. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not getting that same vibe, you know, the hair standing up on the back of my neck like I did with the Bohemian Rhapsody trailer, but at the same time, music unites us all universally, you know, and Elton John's music, like, it's carried across the globe. So I think that this could be huge overseas. Yeah,
I think it's going to open huge no matter what, overseas and here, because I know I'm an Elton John guy too. My whole family is. I think that he speaks to so many generations, his younger work, his later work, and now he continues. I mean, do you know, Jeff, have you heard anything like where, I mean, obviously from the trailer, it's like his early days, the origin story. We're not going to get any flash forwards or anything, or it's all going to be kind of confined to his, like, the heyday of Elton John, far as you know? That
I'm not sure. I know it's like about his friendship with Bernie Taupin, right? I don't really have any, like, tidbits to share on this one. The only thing I'll say is that I remember hearing, you know, throughout, like, leading up to filming, that they were trying to get Lady Gaga for a cameo, and she would be playing, like, his audio engineer. I don't know if that ever happened. I don't know if they ever got her. It seems like we would have heard about it if they did. But I don't know. Maybe they found some other cool pop star to you know. I just don't know if this movie will feature some cool cameos or not.
Right, and I'm wondering the same thing. And the reason I asked, I'm wondering if they would ever age him up or whatnot, because some of my favorite work Elton John ever did was for The Lion King, and I'm not kidding. I love his music in The Lion King. I wonder if they would ever touch it. But based on this trailer, it seems like it's just kind of his younger days and how he exploded onto the scene.
I love the tagline though, like based on a true fantasy, and I like, you know, just some, like, this movie seems visually interesting. I think Dexter Fletcher is a really good director.
Yeah,
they showed more Richard Madden in this version,
who's grown on me after Bodyguard.
Yeah, Bodyguard is giving him a lot of buzz. I mean, obviously people know him from Game of Thrones, but now this.
And May 31st. It's not getting a primo prestige fall release date, but I think that Paramount thinks, like you said, that this could be a real commercial hit, and it can play with the big boys in summer around Memorial Day weekend. And
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I look at that release date of May 31st. That's a bold move to put it there. That's you know, right in the middle of it. Counter programming. You get a lot of people wanting to go out and see this, especially like my mom and dad who want to see it. And I'm wondering if it does perform well, and people, and maybe Taron gets some buzz, they re-release towards the end of the year. I don't know. Do you see if that could happen or not? But the box office will do it, and the critics' consensus will do it, and we'll know.
I mean, it's unlikely, but Black Panther, you know, got re-released, although that was kind of pushed across the 700 million mark or whatever mark it was.
Right.
Do you guys have a favorite Elton John song?
Oh yeah, let me see. I'm a Rocketman guy. I love that.
I mean, I came to Elton John later, not when I was younger, so probably Tiny Dancer.
Tiny Dancer is my other one.
I love Tiny Dancer, although I did perform Someone Saved My Life tonight at karaoke the other night because I was just chilling at a karaoke bar and they started playing Someone Saved My Life tonight and no one got on the mic. I think that the person had already left. So they were like just saying like, we're going to skip it or is somebody going to get up here? And I was like, you know what? Someone saved that song that night.
You also saved that night and that deafening silence with just karaoke music playing in the background.
Long song.
You're a hero to all of us.
My first choice.
You're a hero to all of us, Jeff Sneider. All right, we'll move on to our next story. But in the meantime, guys, we're going to get ready for your live Twitter questions. So go ahead and tweet at us at Collider Videos, or you can tweet at me at Reilly Around. But use that hashtag Collider Movie Talk. I'll start collecting some towards the end of the show, and we'll get to answering your questions. All right, we move on to Edgar Wright. One of my favorite filmmakers. He is one of the best, and we heard that he was doing a horror movie as his next film. And right now we have that they cast Matt Smith and Thomasin McKenzie in what is entitled Last Night in Soho, and it comes to us from our very own Collider and Jeff Sneider. And Thomasin McKenzie, and she's going to join Anya Taylor-Joy. And Sneider, I'm going to go to you first on this. Matt Smith is also joining us, but we heard some plot details that this was going to be maybe set in the past and also the future. And in the past, it was going to be Anya Taylor-Joy doing the part, and then McKenzie will be in the present day. But what is interesting is that it's being billed as a kind of psychological thriller now. Now, I know that's a subgenre of the horror, but I got really excited for Edgar Wright doing a horror movie. What are you hearing? You just put this article out today.
A source kind of reached out to sort of clarify that it's not necessarily a horror movie. I think that horror, sort of the connotation is that there will be jump scares and gore or things like that. I think that it's going to be like the story says, a psychological thriller. So horror was a word that the source was careful not to use. But yeah, it's going to have dual timelines. So Anya Taylor-Joy and Thomasin McKenzie, I don't think that they're going to be sharing scenes together.
Okay.
Anya Taylor-Joy will be in the 60s, and Matt Smith is going to be playing her manager in some respect. I don't know if that makes her an actress or a singer or whatever. And then Thomasin McKenzie will be in modern day. She'll be playing a fashion student, and whether those two timelines intersect at some point, that remains to be seen. But I'm excited by the fact this is an original story from Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
He co-wrote the screenplay with Christy Wilson Cairns from Penny Dreadful. And he's back with his regular producing partners.
Yeah, and I love that. I love the pedigree we have with, how do you pronounce it? Cairns from Penny Dreadful. The idea that he started in, you could say he started in the horror genre, the Shaun of the Dead, but there was a lot of humor in that. Obviously, then Hot Fuzz, very, comedic driven. World's End, same thing. But then, and Scott Pilgrim, of course, very funny comic book. But Dennis, what I'm noticing is Baby Driver comes around, and it's an action movie, and there is a lot of drama in that, and it was less kind of humor that we've seen from him in the past. Now we're getting a psychological thriller from him. Do you see Edgar Wright starting to really stretch his arms now, and do you think that we're going to get a psychological thriller from him? But what is he doing? He seems to be straying away from those comedies now and really digging in deep to different genres. Are you excited about this one?
Yeah, that's actually what makes me more excited about it. I like Edgar Wright and I like all his films, but seeing him tackle something a little bit different. Yeah, Baby Driver was more of an action film, but it wasn't like a comedy or anything, but it still had its
comedic elements
and lighter moments to this. And from what Jeff is saying, is this psychological thriller will be a straight up psychological thriller where, yeah, there might be little moments of levity, but it's probably going to be more straight down the line. And, I'm not like a huge horror fan, but I do like psychological thrillers.
Yeah.
And so seeing him tackle this and seeing him tackle something new is got me excited. Plus the cast, you're talking about a really good cast as well.
Yeah, this one just really seems to jump out to me because even Baby Driver, like you said, had some humorous moments in it and really great editing, fast-paced editing. And this is because it's psychological thriller. The levity that you're speaking of, there's not a lot in it when you're talking about a psychological thriller. Like, I think of Silence of the Lambs, and that doesn't have a lot of humor in it. It has zero humor in it, actually. But there are moments that make you go, maybe chuckle because Anthony
there's
Hopkins.
a little humor. Yeah, I think there's
You know what I mean?
It's
It's riding that, but
I'm thinking like Don't Look Now and those kind of those kinds of 70s movies. That's the vibe that I'm getting from this one.
And that would make sense because Edgar Wright is a student of film, and he has so many inspirations behind it. But the next question I have about Edgar Wright is that we've heard these rumors about Baby Driver 2. Now, Jeff, I don't know if you've heard anything. You don't have to reveal any sources, but because of this, he's going to make this his next thing. Do you see any reason for Edgar Wright to then go back and do a Baby Driver sequel? Or because he's stretching his legs right now and doing different genres, would you want to see him continue on with original material and just ignore a Baby Driver 2?
I'm with the original material. Yeah, I liked Baby Driver. It was good. I don't need to see a sequel.
Yeah.
I just don't really see. I don't know what the continuation of that story would necessarily be. I want to see Edgar continue to put his spin on different genres and that kind of thing.
I'm with you. I mean, I love his Cornetto trilogy. I mean, it's one of my favorite kind of 3-film series, but the idea of him doing something different and continuing to do something different, I'm with you. Baby Driver 2, I thought the first movie was really well contained. It was really well executed. I loved the movie. I don't see a need for a part 2 myself. But Dennis, what about you? Would you want him to come back to maybe a Baby Driver 2? Same question, or continue on doing original material?
Continue on doing original material. I like Baby Driver quite a bit, but it's not a story that we need to see further on. Right. They ended the story. There was no kind of place that we really need to see that character go. So doing something different and new, I think, is. And you talk about the trilogy. It's like, those were like semi-connected because they had like same actors and whatever, same feel to them. But story-wise, they weren't actually connected. So
right, and that's kind of what I like about that with the Cornetto trilogy. But I also like him doing these new things. And so let me put it out to you guys. You can tweet at us, drop in some comments. Would you want to see Edgar Wright return and do a Baby Driver 2 or continue to do original material? We seem to be all agreed that we don't need a Baby Driver 2, but you tell us. So, all right, let's go into our last story, which is a new trailer, an exclusive trailer dropped here on Collider.com for Dragged Across Concrete. It stars Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, and it comes from Tomahawk director S. Craig Zoller. And the story sees Vaughn and Gibson as two suspended cops who find themselves over their head in a shadowy criminal underworld. The film also stars Jennifer Carpenter, Don Johnson, Tori Kittles, and Michael Jai White. Dragged Across Concrete hits theaters this March 22nd. I was really surprised about this trailer. One, I thought it was going to be something dark and gritty and kind of like violent. And there's violence in there, there's grit in there, but there's also a lot of humor. Dennis, what do you think of this first look here?
Yeah, because I haven't seen Bone Tomahawk yet. It's on my Netflix queue. But from what people have told me, it's very, very, very violent.
It is.
And then you hear the name Dragged Across Concrete, you're thinking violent film.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just saving it for the actual movie itself. But in this trailer, the violence was more comical in a sense, and it's interesting because you have two actors in there, Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, who are kind of like in Hollywood A-list purgatory. They're both two actors that used to be very, very big, that are off on the wayside, that are kind of trying to redefine themselves in the type of roles they play. I mean, Vince Vaughn is someone everyone knows him from Old School and Dodgeball and all these comedies, Swingers, and playing that type of roles. But if you see him in something like Return to Paradise and other things, he tried it with True Detective season 2, but that really wasn't his fault. I think that was the writing of that particular season wasn't very strong. And so I think with a role like this, he's trying to like change it up. So it's got me interested. I wonder like how much, because the tone of it is in between that kind of serious drama and kind of some comedy in there, so I don't know exactly where it's going to land, but that's fine because some of my favorite movies have both in them.
I found the humor kind of welcoming, but then towards the end there, when the trailer was starting to end and they kind of held on him like shooting, and then he shoots the bag of chips, and you're like, what was that? That seemed a little off for me, but what's your take on this, Sneider? Did you like the trailer?
I did. I thought it looked pretty good. This is the kind of movie that excites me. This is the kind of pairing that excites me, Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson. I was not a big fan of Bone Tomahawk. Like,
Okay.
you know, I thought that movie was kind of wildly overpraised, but I saw a lot of growth between that film and Craig Zoller's next film, Brawl in Cell Block 99, which was kind of
seen that.
awesome.
Was it?
Oh, you would love it. And
Okay.
it's crazy violent.
And Vince Vaughn's in that one
Yes,
as well.
exactly. He's amazing in it.
Okay.
So I love that they're back together again, and I've heard that this movie gets violent at times as well. It reminded me a little of The Nice Guys, but with the inverted formula.
Yeah.
Instead of like going for laughs, I think that this is still a drama first and foremost. I've heard that a lot of this movie has to do with them sitting in the car together on
Really?
like stakeouts and whatnot. So, you know, it opens with them, you know, in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, that makes sense based on what I've heard. And the question is, do I want to spend time in that car with those guys? If you know, that is how much, if as much screen time is devoted to that as I've heard it is, do I want to be in a car with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn? And the answer is yes. Here's the problem, though, and it's a problem with Craig Zoller, and somebody really needs, I mean, his producer, who's a buddy of mine, needs to get a handle on this. The magic number to this movie is 159.
Oh.
159 is the number of minutes long that this is. This is a 2-hour and 39-minute movie. Now, I don't think you're making Heat here. I don't see in what universe this movie needs to be almost 3 hours. Brawl in Cell Block 99 could have lost 20 minutes, which was also like 2 hours and 25 minutes long or something. So
Jeez.
somebody needs to sort of work with Craig Zoller, needs an editor, because I don't think that just knowing this kind of movie and what the genre is, it doesn't justify a 2-hour, 40-minute runtime. It better be damn good if they stick to that number.
See, you had me there. I'm like sitting here thinking, I'm looking at Vince Vaughn's character, and it's conjuring to mind a little bit of his character from Made. Have you guys seen
I
Made?
love Made. I think Made is better than Swingers, by the way.
I'm starting to fall on that line because of just growing and like Swingers maybe not aging as
It's a
well.
cool, you know, quotable movie, but Made is better.
Made
A better
is a great movie. So I saw a little bit of that, and then you tell me that they're going to sit in the car the whole time. It reminds me of Made. They sit in the car a lot of the time. They talk a lot. There's a lot of dialogue, and the dialogue has to be like popping, and that's great. But 2 hours and 40 minutes.
That's a lot.
Is a long movie, and you brought up one of the holiest of holy movies in Heat, which is one of my favorite Michael Mann movies. Could this be the next Heat? But do we need a movie that long? Dennis, does that scare you that this movie could be that long?
Yeah, it does, because it doesn't scream like an epic movie that, you know, it's not like Godfather or something like that, where it's
Right.
like, okay, it's going to traverse many different characters over a long period of time. It seems like one of those movies that's going to take place over like 2 weeks, and you're saying a lot of time is spent in the car with those two guys. And yeah, I want to see Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn together, but do I want to see them in a car for that long of a period of time?
Here's the other thing: like this movie, for the most part, is going to be watched at home. It's not going to have a big theatrical release. It's sort of going to get a token theatrical release, but most people are going to catch this on VOD.
Yeah.
Now, does that benefit a longer movie because you can press pause and you can go or is it like if you were to see this in the theaters, you're in that seat, you're locked in there for 3 hours, you have to surrender to it. Like a 3-hour runtime at home, a lot of distractions. You know,
That's where I was going
Who can
with
sit
it.
still on their couch for 3 hours?
I mean,
don't know.
how many memes have you seen where it's like, oh, I'm going to put on Netflix right now, and then you sit on your phone the rest of the time while the movie plays in the background? That tends to happen with me sometimes. Watching new movies at home even, I get distracted, get a call, what have you. But with this, when you bring up Heat, you got to see Heat in the big screen, right? Because of the sound effects and the action.
If the movie's good, I'll forgive it.
Yeah, sure.
But right now, from the outset, just like, do I want to rent this movie? Do I want to watch a 2.5-hour movie when I get home from work? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. How about you guys? What do you think? Is that too long? That is a long movie.
But if it's good, yeah, it's like it's one of those things.
2 hours of it.
I mean, I remember watching Wolf of Wall Street, sitting down, going, "My God, this is going to be 3.5." And I love
Scorsese and Leo,
but I love
then
Scorsese.
It went by like that.
Yeah, I thought
right.
it's over already, but
Yeah.
So if it is good and the pacing's good, it'll be fine. But from now, just that kind of speculating, it's like, wow, that is a long period of time.
Yeah, and we're speculating, we're judging a little bit, but there's a good pedigree behind it. The trailer was pretty good.
It inhibits people from renting the movie. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Too long? You gonna watch it? You gonna wait for home? Or you gonna go to the theater? Drop in those comments. We want to hear from you. All right, we're gonna be moving on to your live Twitter questions next, but I want to remind you of some things. This Sunday here at Collider Video, we are gonna be doing the live stream of the Oscar telecast. The Oscars, they do start at 5 p.m. That is PST, and this Sunday. So every time they go to commercial break, you can then watch us. We're going to break down each award. We're going to give our thoughts, our speculation. We're going to bemoan the whole telecast.
And I'm going to take
maybe.
money off of Scott Mantz.
And Jeff Sneider's going to take money off of Scott Mantz. Yeah, you guys both going to be involved. I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
you guys are there.
Be there with our hair all did.
Yeah,
our hair.
We're all dressing up.
We're all dressing up.
Wearing underwear.
That's good. There's a first for everything. So that's really good, Jeff Sneider. So check us out there. That is this Sunday, and that it starts at 5 p.m. We also have Jedi Council. It dropped earlier today. You can see that now, and make sure you check out Mailbag. We'll have all new episodes on Saturday and on Sunday, and then we'll be back next Monday. Perry will be back, of course, to host an all-new movie talk, which will drop 4 p.m. live, PST, right here on Collider Video. So let's get to those live Twitter questions. And I grabbed one first because this is, I can't wait for this movie. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but Jedi DMF at Disney Marvel fan writes, with How to Train Your Dragon 3 coming out tomorrow, what is each of your guys' favorite trilogy of all time? Mine is the Back to the Future trilogy. You know, How to Train Your Dragon, I haven't seen the third one yet, but I love those movies so much. This is a big one. Does it have to
be a trilogy? Does it have to end after 3 movies?
Yes, let's do it.
That's
just
tougher.
3.
Yeah.
Because they have other that go
trilogy.
on, like Indiana Jones goes on past 3.
Right. Die Hard, Scream, these are all longer than 3.
Here's the question. I'm sticking to it.
Off the top of my head, I would say the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but I have to
Don't count The Hobbit. You don't have to worry about The Hobbit. So if it's just the Lord of the Rings because it's the movies and it's just the 3 movies,
and then
Lord of the Rings is up there for me too.
And then Godfather, if I could cut off the third one.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's technically Toy Story's trilogy right now.
Yes, for a few months.
For a few more months.
Right.
I'm gonna use that because this question is too hard.
It's okay, so you can give up and do.
Well, it's like, what do you want me to
Story.
say here? Like The Matrix? Like,
I know.
That definitely should not be.
Yeah,
that should not be in.
What am I supposed to
Nobody.
say?
I'm surprised nobody's bringing up the Dark Knight trilogy. Is it because of the Dark Knight Rises, or maybe it's because?
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's a good one.
I mean, Dark Knight Rises was
I only loved one of those movies, though. So
you only you just love the Dark Knight.
And Star Wars, the original, the most famous trilogy isn't. If you're talking about the 4, 5, 6, and then you got 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, it's all over.
I mean, if you just talk trilogies, you could even include the prequel trilogy. You can include the original trilogy. For me, it's the original trilogy.
Okay.
New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. They're all the best movies. Of what?
Surprise.
Surprise. No, actually, it's the Superman trilogy, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
There was no part 4, The Quest for Peace. All right, let's go to another one then. Let's see here. We have Chris Woodburn. Who's a director that you'd like to see get more opportunities? For me, it's Lexi Alexander. That's a good one. What about you guys? Directors out there that aren't doing enough that you want to see more from? I know, right?
I mean, there's some directors I follow that just haven't blown up, like John Hillcoat, who I love, The Proposition, and Lawless. His last movie, I forgot what the name was, something 88. It was like that cop one. It wasn't as good as I expected it to be, but him. Who else is there?
So many. I'll throw one out there. Haven't heard from her in a while. Sofia Coppola. I love all of her movies. I mean, obviously Lost in Translation is my favorite. I heard she was doing a Little Mermaid thing, but that was over at, I believe, Universal. Haven't heard a lot from her since, so I would love to see Sofia Coppola come back in the mix.
There are a bunch of directors, obviously, I can answer this with.
Sure.
But I'm going to go with one who directed one of my favorite films of 2015 and has not been heard from since. No development projects, as far as I can tell, nothing.
Okay.
Kyle Patrick Alvarez, who directed The Stanford Prison Experiment, which is an incredible thriller. I love The Stanford Prison Experiment. If you guys haven't seen that,
it's great.
Check it out.
It's great.
And he is just I thought it was so inventive and what he did with that visually, and nothing. It's like it never happened. So yeah, I would like to see him get another gig.
Yeah. Those are good choices. Let's go on to one more Twitter question, and it comes from @MarioPro5. I'm going to say Mario Pro. And any other music legend you wish to have a biopic of? He wants Michael Jackson. I think Michael Jackson is a fantastic pick. I think sooner or later we're going to get a Michael Jackson biopic.
Are you paying attention to the news these days?
No, I know, dude. That's why I want to see it. Well, we're getting the, what is it, Leaving Neverland?
Play Michael Jackson.
There's got to be somebody. There's got to be some. You don't want a Michael Jackson biopic?
No.
Do you think? Okay, let me put it this way. Do you think because of everything that happened that we'll never get one because they don't want to touch that?
Yes.
You really do?
I do, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think he's tainted forever. Like, I don't even understand, like, what would that movie look like? Would it just...
Well, it'd either be something that's approved by whoever owns the Michael Jackson estate, and so therefore it would be squeaky clean, do you know what I mean?
Right,
like,
exactly.
It'd be like...
It's crazy.
Or
I'm of the, like when the Hulk Hogan movie was announced, they're saying it's just going to be about Hulkamania, right? And like his rise, his origin story. Hulk is a producer on the thing. We're not going to get that stuff that happened with Gawker. We're not going to get those idiotic comments he made.
But that's fine. That's a different. That's different than Michael Jackson touching little boys. I don't know how you could just make a movie, lionizing Michael Jackson, and then pretend that none of this stuff ever.
No, I know.
Happened.
I would want to.
Or who would go see that, or which actors would agree to be in it, or which director would agree to make it.
See, that's why I want to see it. I want to see the darkness and the deep dive on that, and have it be a tragic telling. But you're right. I don't think they'll ever do it because of how tainted he is in the industry and everything.
There are two stories that come to mind, I guess. First of all, did you see the trailer for The Dirt this week? The Motley Crue one? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it didn't look great. But
there were moments that I really liked, but for me, I
would love to see a Metallica movie.
Oh, yes.
First of all, they have a theatrical fan base. They've released like 2 or 3 movies already at this point, and fans have gone to those in theaters. From the accident that killed the bassist, Cliff Burton, the original bassist, to the time the pyrotechnics lit up James Hetfield on stage, caught on fire. Like there were riots, or maybe, I don't know if that was Guns N' Roses, but there was like a riot in Montreal or something like that. Metallica has endured since the late 70s. They've been one of my favorite bands. They would be great. And then I'll just say this for my dad. My dad wants to make a movie about this guy, Randy California, who was like some famous guitarist in some band. I don't know. Yeah. But he basically saved his son from drowning, but then drowned himself in the ocean in saving his son. And my dad has always been fascinated by that story. Has been pushing me to write something. It's not really my cup of tea, but Dad, that was for you. There's your shout out. Happy birthday,
Dennis. Do you have one yet?
For me, it wouldn't be a singular musician. It'd be I grew up in the 90s, so I would think of the whole grunge scene in Seattle with Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, like that whole scene in the rivalries and also just how they came up. And so that would probably be it.
That was mine, actually. Nirvana I would love to see because of their impact on the grunge scene. We were talking about The Dirt and Motley Crue. I was listening to all those like hair metal bands and Winger, Skid Row.
Did you have long hair, Reilly?
Oh God, no, I didn't have long hair.
You could grow it out now. You've got such lovely locks.
Well, there is a bet on the table for Collider Live to grow my hair out for 4 months if I can get episode 9 premiere tickets for me and my fiance. I'm considering it, but haven't decided yet. But Nirvana would be fun because when Nirvana hit the scene, everything changed, and I witnessed it at school. That Smells Like Teen Spirit started playing, and everybody just started getting into it. And I like literally watched some guy in a Motley Crue t-shirt go. Yeah, that's good. It was like just this weird, almost immediate shift.
I remember that too because I was big into the hair bands, which actually leads to one that definitely I don't know why they haven't done it yet. Probably because of legal reasons. But Guns N' Roses is ripe for a biopic.
Appetite for Destruction, baby.
Just the way that Axl Rose is
like headbanging though in his bedroom.
Yeah, but that grunge came and just wiped a hair metal band like.
What other bands would you want to see? Because I don't know if I'd want a Nirvana movie, but I'd take a grunge movie.
No, well, that's what I was talking about.
About the whole scene. Yeah,
Pearl Jam.
Yes.
I mean, I would personally, I would want it Nirvana because of the story of them and how they got together and how they broke up, and then I would want to include Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, like all these, and like maybe make cameos and like just make it an epic thing. But I think it's anchored with Nirvana because it obviously would end like kind of with the tragedy of Kurt Cobain.
Right, and that's the end of Grunge.
And that's the end of it, yeah. But that's a great question.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Good stuff, everyone. That'll do it for Collider Movie Talk. Perry, as I mentioned, we'll be back on Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Dennis and Jeff Sneider, thank you for joining me on this great movie talk. And you guys, we will be back on Monday at 4 p.m. PST. We'll see you then.
Oscar Sunday.